how to optimize the distance, bring Asia and Europe together, and expand the market's geography. Coming up in the program, Road to the Future.
Kazakhstan is celebrating its Day of Independence. Over a quarter of a century, a lot has changed in the country's history and destiny. But one thing remains constant: the ambition to move forward, creating new paths for growth. What's more, over the period of the country's independence, these paths are becoming symbolic. The program Joly is a bright example of this, because it includes such basic concepts like path, movement, and future. The new economic policy Joly was announced for the first time by the President of Kazakhstan 2 years ago. Its main focus is infrastructural development. The key term, roads. The roads are the lines of life for Kazakhstan. In our vast lands, life always commenced and flourished around roads. We have an obligation to create a transport network so that automobile, railway and air communication lines would spread in all directions from Astana, like arteries from a heart or rays from the sun.
Авиационные магистрали, как вот от сердца идут артерии, как от солнца идут лучи.
The aim of this program, with the use of anticipated actions, to create a safety buffer for the country's economy. And the transport logistics infrastructure should play one of the most important roles in the long-term scenario. The term infrastructure has its origins in Latin, meaning under structure. And this definition does nothing to belittle the meaning of the current infrastructure. You can be the judge. The foundation of the economy in all times, and especially today, have been transit, trade, export potential, and exchange in advanced technologies. These are the same basic coordinates which can be reached through the development of infrastructure. What's more, its potential is inexhaustible. Raw materials, sooner or later, are depleted or unstable in price, and infrastructure is a resource which has a renewable effect in any kind of realities or market dimensions. And the most renowned experts praise the strategy of Kazakhstan's leader.
Is a way of exchanging knowledge, experiences, policies, of aligning regulations, of aligning ways of doing business, so that it's much easier to exchange not only goods and services, but also ideas and innovation. And this is really quite exciting, I think, and quite exciting for Kazakhstan, perfectly in line with the strategy for growth of this country.
Today, Kazakhstan accounts for 60% of the GDP of all of Central Asia. So having an infrastructure of, whether it's with high-speed telecoms and broadband, whether it's with pipelines, whether it's with roads, whether it's with trains, whether it's airports.
The infrastructure-oriented development path will lead to a centrifugal force effect and give an impulse to the development of the regions. For Kazakhstan, this is a very serious motivation. The country's territory is huge, 2,724,900 square kilometers, and the total length of all the roads, 115,000 kilometers. If all the roads are stretched into one line, this length can span our planet along the equator almost 3 times. And the population density of Kazakhstan is one of the lowest in the world, 6.3 people per square kilometer.
If you really look at the way that he's planning for the country, all these, the infrastructure in the transportation, in the country, it's really will make this country beautiful, because there are a lot of places in this country that really need to be connected to the center, can get the products much easier, much cheaper, because the transportation cost is reduced.
The list of top infrastructural projects which were marked in the Joly program include construction and reconstruction of roads, introduction of new mobile types of transport and cargo, modernization and construction of ports, air, sea and land, formation of logistics centers, opening of terminals on the territories of other countries. And each one of these directions is a connecting component in the infrastructural carcass of Kazakhstan's economy. Coming up next, the roads that we choose. The aim of road projects is to form in every region a branched-out network of modern roads, and in the end to connect every macro-region with the center, the capital of Kazakhstan. This prospect promises to make the country's transport system optimal. Within the framework of this plan, a number of key directions are highlighted: Center-South, Center-East, Center-North, and Center-West. The longest of them is Center-West, Astana, Aktobe, Atarau, Aktau. Its length, 2,600 kilometers. This route will connect the capital of the country, Astana, with the sea gates of Kazakhstan, the Aktau port. A strategic role has been allocated to the section Beineo-Aktau, within the scheme Center-West. It will be a logical addition to the railway branches Kazakh-Beineo and the automobile network in the system of multimodal transport. The length of the Beineo-Aktau section is 470 kilometers.
At the
moment, there are works on the Shitpej-Aktau section, which has a length of 170 kilometers. The works are being conducted by the Turkish company Zengiz Inşaat. By 2019, within the framework of the program Joly, there are plans to reconstruct large Republican road arteries. One of them is the highway Center-East, which is considered to be an important direction for the transit cargo flow. The construction of the road Center-East is being conducted in 3 regions of the country. The key points of the highway Astana-Pavlodar-Oskimien. The length is more than 1,000 kilometers. Within the framework of this highway, one of the key projects is being conducted on the territory of the Pavlodar region. On the section Pavlodar-Aksu, a unique engineering structure is being built. The arch cable-stayed bridge of the Irtysh River is bidding for the status of the biggest bridge structure in Central Asia. This bridge will practically connect Pavlodar with its junior industrial twin city, Aksu, which in the prospective future will together form a single agglomeration. The visible part of the arch cable-stayed bridge over the Irtysh River is just the tip of the iceberg. Its underwater part, the huge board piles, are hidden from the view. The diameter of each one of them is 1.5 meters. The columns are set 40 meters deep into the ground and serve as the foundation. The aim of this bridge project is to provide a transit route for the auto transport going from East Kazakhstan to the center, to Astana, without entering the city, and to unload the city roads and decrease the road length from the city of Aksu. Coming up next, the ring of big prospects and where do the roads of Almaty lead? The direction center-south. Distance 1,200 kilometers. This is one of the busiest roads in the country because it connects 2 metropolis cities, Astana and Almaty. According to the Joly plan, both cities will get a new status of a hub. Today, this term is not just used for the junction transport centers, like sea and airports or large logistics centers. Cities which have an active movement of cargo, concentration of capital, resources and mobile productions are also deemed as hubs. According to the current plan of Joly, Astana is the hub of the northern macro region. This is where the administrative center of the country is located, where an industrial platform for high-technology enterprises is being established, a super-modern science and educational complex is being created, and in the prospective future, an international financial center will start working here. We're confident that the Astana Financial Center will become the core of Kazakhstan's financial infrastructure, and in the future, a financial hub for the entire Central Asian region. Concerning Almaty, the city will receive the status of the hub of the southern macro region. It already has well-established business, scientific, educational and cultural centers that reach a regional scale, and the foundation is being laid for the transport and logistics complex of an international level. That is why Almaty and Almaty region are taking part not just in the construction of the highway center-south, but also such road transfer projects like Almaty-Khorgos, within the framework of the transnational transport corridor, Western Europe, Western China, and Almaty-Taldykurgan-Oskimien, along the Joly line. Almaty-Kapshagay is one of the sections of this project. Its length, 60 kilometers. The road has 6 lanes and is of 1A category. The high class was chosen for the highway taking into account three factors: the level of intensity of traffic flow in the direction of East Kazakhstan, 25 to 26,000 vehicles per day, proximity of touristic holiday places in the nearshore zone of Kapshagay, and capacity of road sections of the Almaty agglomeration. In 2017, within the framework of the Joly program, next to the southern metropolis, realization of the project, the Big Almaty Ring Road, will commence. This project is multifunctional. First of all, it will allow to unload the transport flow in Almaty. Second of all, the Big Almaty Ring Road will optimize the traffic flow of the Republican Road network.
Данный проект реализовывается.
The project is being realized within the framework of the law on public-private partnership. This project will be realized on a concessional basis. We're preparing for the project jointly with international consultants.
Подготовку проекта проводим с привлечением международных консультантов.
The concession partner has already been determined. This will be a consortium of Turkish-Korean companies which will be building a ring road and will maintain it after the completion of the project. According to the plan, the construction of the Big Almaty Ring Road will take 4.5 years. The concession period is 20 years. Once the road is built, it will be connected with the international transport corridor, Western Europe, Western China. As a result, the transit potential of this highway will rise, because auto transport that will be moving from the Kazakhstan-China border will follow a detour around Almaty. Coming up next, the steel logic of logistics. A successfully chosen logistics strategy helps everyone who is somehow engaged in the production of goods, sales, delivery, and reception of cargo to find a worthy place under the sun. And as global experience shows, a system of logistics which is integrated into the global market creates good advantages for the competitiveness of a country. Kazakhstan, unlike many other Western countries, is located far from continental seas. In these conditions, the optimal option for developing logistics is a multimodal one. This is precisely what the country chose to resolve this problem. In the 15th century, travelers called the Kazakh Khanat as a house with two gates. The first gates, according to them, open in the east, at the border with the Oirats, where the Central Asian section of the Great Silk Way commenced. That is why it is quite symbolic that precisely here, after 5 centuries, on the territory of Kazakhstan, a special economic zone, Khorgos Eastern Gates, was created. Coming up next, the new urban landscape, or a port without a sea among sands. A new mega project of a new format is being realized in the territory of the Special Economic Zone, Khorgos Eastern Gates, a dry port. This is the very first dry inland terminal in Central Asia. Located in the depth of the Eurasian continent, far from the seashores, it will perform the same functions like a seaport: transshipment, distribution, storage, customs registration of container or other cargo. Khorgos. The dry port has a whole complex of infrastructural objects and is a center where all operational processes for managing cargo are conducted and various shipment approaches are considered. On the railways, there is a transshipment of containers from the wide trucks to the narrow ones. In Kazakhstan and the CIS, the width of the railway tracks is 1,520 millimeters, and in China and countries of the European Union, 1,435 millimeters. But this difference will not impede the active movement of cargo to the territory of the dry port, because here containers can be reloaded to other tracks. This is the process that we're seeing right now. In the work of the dry port, technologies and management principles of the DP World company are being implemented. This is an international provider of multimodal shipments and a world-renowned brand in the sphere of transport logistics. By the way, the know-how of DP World is also being used in the project on increasing the transit potential of the Aktau seaport. According to experts, the synergy of the two ports, the sea and the dry, will give a new boost of energy to Kazakhstan's transit sphere.
It's a network, and so the availability, of course, of Khorgos with the infrastructure that the government have invested makes this very attractive, definitely. So we are connecting Khorgos with Aktau and the Black Sea. The cargo is starting to come, of course, and will be eventually, as the economy of scale kicks in, whereby more cargo will come, it will become even more viable.
Coming up next, all roads lead to Aktau. The Aktau seaport is located at the intersection of a number of large international transport corridors: Trey-Seka, north-south, and east-west. From here, the cargo which arrives from China through Kazakhstan's Horgoz then travels by sea to Iran, Russia, and Azerbaijan, or by transit through Georgia to Turkey and other European countries. Within the framework of realization of the national Nordlozhol strategy, today this port is becoming a key component of the entire transport system of Kazakhstan. Its strategic task: to become a sea transit corridor for land-transported cargo, which moves from China through Kazakhstan's Caspian Sea in the western direction. And one of the solutions for this task is expansion of the port in its northern part. 3 port terminals were built based on this plan: a container platform, a new grain terminal, additional warehouses, and dredging works were conducted here as well. The bottom of the water area is up to 6 meters deep, which allows the biggest ships to enter the Caspian Sea, with a load-bearing capacity up to 5,000 tons and more than 5,000 tons. The geographic location of the Aktau port works in favor of the single transmodal system of cargo transport. Today it is being formed in the interest of the interregional club of countries. Aside from Kazakhstan, it can potentially include pre-Caspian states, countries of Southeast Asia, the Persian Gulf, as well as those located in the basins of the Black and Mediterranean Seas. Today, different routes are being developed which pass through the countries of the Trans-Caucasus, being redirected towards us. We're also working on them within the framework of the International Transport Corridor, the TCITR. TCITR is a Trans-Caspian International Transport Route, which commences in the Chinese port Lianyungang. The seaport Lianyungang is one of the 20 biggest ports in the world. It is located on the shores of the Yellow Sea and the Haizhou Bay. Thanks to its geographic position, Lianyungang is connected by railway communication with other ports of the country: Qingdao, Tianjin, Dalian, and Shanghai. In addition, this port has direct access to Korea's port Busan and Japan's Osaka. Lianyungang is the closest international port to the border with Kazakhstan that has an access to the ocean. In addition, it is considered to be competitive not just within the scale of China, but also in comparison with the Northern Sea Corridor. That is why precisely here, in Lianyungang, in 2014, Kazakhstan's terminal commenced its operations. Kazakhstan's terminal is located in the cargo zone of the Lianyungang port. Its total territory, 20 hectares. The length of the incoming railway line, 3.8 kilometers. The total amount invested in the construction of the terminal was 606 million yuan. This is Kazakhstan's biggest investment project in China. A joint enterprise manages the terminal, the Lianyungang China-Kazakhstan International Logistics. Our terminal in Lianyungang will become a stepping stone, and from here we will be able to expand further on and represent the interests of Kazakhstan in China. The opening of terminals on the territories of foreign countries is one of the points of the Nordlozhol program of infrastructural development. Such projects will facilitate the expansion of cargo turnover in spheres that are of priority for Kazakhstan, including along the Caspian Sea vector. Coming up next, where the railways and the seas meet. The Kurek Ferry Complex is a unique project not just within Kazakhstan, but also entire Central Asia. Its main task, transshipment of containers to the neighboring states of the Caspian region. What's more, this will be realized directly without unloading and preliminary storage. The containers will be delivered here to the pier, from the pier across the Caspian in the direction of Turkmenistan, Iran, in the western direction towards Russia, and in the direction of Azerbaijan. A ferry complex is being built in the Kurek port, which is located in the eastern part of the Caspian. Geographic conditions here are ideal for maritime traffic. The harbor doesn't freeze, it has substantial depth and an optimal wind pattern. Containers will be arriving to the ferry complex from the Yersai station. In order to do this from here to the Kuruk port, today the railway line Borjak-Yersai is being constructed. In tandem, the ferry complex Kuruk and the railway line Borjak-Yersai should provide multimodal transport of cargo across the Eurasian corridor, and this prospect was initially laid out in the Nurlazhol program. The country is located at the intersection of main transport arteries of the Eurasian continent, and projects with universal capabilities allow the country to fully develop its logistics potential and become a mobile link on the map of global transit. Nurlazhol is not just a program for infrastructural development. This is a countrywide strategy for Kazakhstan. It spells out in detail highways which will lead to the country towards big markets, trustful trade connections, and sustainable economic development, towards everything that creates a solid foundation for a stable future. You are watching The Route to the Future. Until next time, en route, which opens up new possibilities for Kazakhstan.